So yeah, and I'm still pushing pulling values. I'm about halfway through. Um, no major details at the moment. Brushes wise, I use a chalk brush. I find that's the best one. That and round brush. You'll see me use some trees and stuff, but um, the round brush and the chalk brush are the best tools to use when painting. In my opinion. Um, I'm sure a lot of people will agree with me. At the moment, that brush there that I'll just use there is something that I found out that I had. It was by mistake, um, and I thought I'd just use it for the hell of it, and it was pretty cool. But that's something you can always make yourself. So moving on, this composition is starting to come together now, and I'm starting to add a few details. I think the image itself, the only details I really do focus on is the focus point, which is those two horsemen. But the landscape as a whole is the focus point as well. I think those cavalry that I ended up adding in later on in the painting are just to add perspective and give a sort of I don't know, if somebody's in the painting, you can sort of give a sense of scale of what size the area is. Um, if you don't, then it could be any size. Those trees could be massive, or they could just be a bush, and I'm looking at a little tiny stream. Um, but or it could be mountains. I don't know, but adding people in, adding, I don't know, birds or something that the human can give scale on. It gives a sense of perspective and a sense of human scale, which is pretty cool. It's always vital to have those sort of elements into a painting, even if your focus point is a building or something like that. Having a man in the foreground or something like that, then it adds sort of a sense of scale, which is very important. So, I'm not sure what I'm actually doing at the moment. Yeah, I'm starting to add into the horseman guy. I'll end up using a reference photo later on. At the moment, I'm sticking to one layer. I'm using two layers at the moment, but you'll see me flatten that in a minute. And I tend to use one layer because if you have loads and loads of layers, then it can get very complex and very confusing. And if you're doing a regular painting, then when you do a painting in real life, you always using one layer anyway. If I tend to add a layer, then I try and use it for volumetric fog or something to bring out something else behind a certain object, and I'll bring it back. But I tend to stick to one layer. It keeps things simple, and that's what you want. You don't want to get your mind boggled on where things are on the layer palette. And I start to bring into another horseman here. I think I'm going to search and get a reference photo. I need some more reference photos of a horse, to be honest. I don't have many, as you can see. And it's nice to have a big screen as well, because I think my screen, I can't remember the size of it, but it's quite a large screen, and I'm able to paint and look at something else at the same time. Usually, because I'm back at home, usually at uni, I have two screens. It's quite a bad screen, the other one, but it's good to have like another screen for a reference photo, then focus entirely on one screen with your painting that you're working on. It's always good to have reference photos, books, them sort of, that sort of stuff. Nice library of images, because it makes if you just do it by memory, then it can go out of proportion, and I can never really remember. Horses are really hard to draw for me at the moment. I've bought a few books and trying to get the hang of drawing them, especially when they're galloping. It's kind of hard. But you know, it's good to have reference photos and a large library. I think I've got about 4,500, 5,000 images in total, and I've only just started collecting them in the past few months, so that'll be eating up my memory. So yeah, I'm just adding a few dinks on the armour. As you can tell, they're sort of like cavalry knights, nothing special. So at one point I tried to do the winged hussars, the Polish winged hussars, and I spent so long just trying to get all the details out on them, and I ended up, well, not giving up. I just didn't work on it again because the painting just, it got too, I spent too long in it, and it wasn't getting anywhere. And sometimes when you work on like a particular part of a painting, you add a cavalry guy or a soldier or something like that, and it will only take 5 minutes, and it feels a bit better. So yeah, I'm adding a few trees in. I just want to frame the left hand side of the painting. I think I'll flip the canvas again. I can't really remember what it originally was, but that doesn't matter, you know. When you're working on the painting, it should work for both sides, in my opinion. Using those treat brushes is almost cheating, but it will save time. You know, when you get into the industry, time is very vital, and I'm trying to get as fast as possible because I want to get in preparation of trying to get into the industry. So yeah, I think I'm nearly done. Just a few more minutes, and I think it'll be done. I think I'm just going through the painting. I'm not sure what I'm actually doing at the moment. Yeah, just adding a few bits of rock and stuff. You know, those little tiny details that, you know, bring the painting out just that little bit more. It's always important, but I tend to work as the painting as a whole. I never try to work into a particular part of the painting for ages, because otherwise your vision is channeled, and you'll end up having a painting that's really detailed in one bit and the rest is rubbish, you know. So yeah, just adding a few textures just to finish it off from my library of clouds. Try and make that sort of mystical mountain outlook on it, but you know, these things can be done just using a brush, and it makes things a little bit more raw, but you know, adding textures and stuff just finishes it off really. When I do add textures, I tend to have them in overlay, which is one of the modes. So I'm just whacking in a signature, make it tiny and small. All it is just to record what I've done, you know, my name, my date, you know, when I did it. I'll sometimes add in, you know, what it is of, why I did it, but that's all it is, you know, no massive signature, because that can distract the image. So yeah, I'm quite happy with what I did.